Yep. Again, thank you for joining us today for our free Philly pre-K enrollment training. I do ask that you please take a moment to share your name and the site you are representing in the chat panel. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. We made this mandatory because we have made a lot of changes with the enrollment process, and we just want to make sure everybody's all on the same page. We have Rachel from our Free Fully Pre-K portal that's going to be able to share some support and help us navigate the system. Going to do some high-level overview because we did the enrollment training earlier in the year, but we're just going to do a review today to make sure everybody is all on the same page. So I'm going to do a couple of things. First, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat panel. Throughout the presentation, we will pause to answer all questions that come in, but we do ask that you please put them in the chat panel as shared, working to record today's training for those that couldn't make it, but also to be available to you at a future date. Any questions, please just put them right in the chat panel. There is a closed captioning feature. If you like, you can add that. So all in all, we're going to talk about the Free Philly Pre-K portal and childcare. That's really our agenda for today, managing Free Philly Pre-K enrollments and the childcare enrollments overview. So I'm going to share a couple of things, and then I'm going to have Rachel share her screen so that she can share how to work through the portal, and then I'll close it out sharing with our steps that we must complete for childcare. First, I also want to give a shout out. We have 227 sites with PHL Pre-K through PHMC. We have 4,033 children enrolled as of 8/25, which is Monday. 2,393 of those children are eligible for kindergarten for the next school year. So that's pretty cool. We are moving towards 100% enrollment for a lot of centers. We have 68 providers that are at 100% enrollment. We have 125 providers that are between a 50 to 99% enrollment, 28 providers between 13 and 48%, and 5 providers at the 0%. If you are one of the providers in any of these categories and need any help and assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at phlprek@phmc.org. So we're going to start off with talking about managing online applications. I want to share some highlights first, and then we're going to have Rachel share her screen and show you how to navigate this on the back end. So what's new? Viewing applications. For this school year, you will only see applications of children that have marked your location as their first choice, and you want to work to process those applications if it has a status of submitted. Student tags. Providers can now update a child's tag in the Free Philly portal. Providers are encouraged to make outreach to families within 72 hours and to update the tag as appropriate. For returning children, you do not need to complete a new application. If the child attended during the FY25 school year, a new application is not needed. Simply re-enroll them. If the child discharges during the school year and returns during the school year, again, a new application is not required. You just want to make sure that you update any contact information and any other documents you need for your records, you want to make sure you obtain. School transfers. If a child was enrolled at a Free Philly Pre-K location and wants to transfer, you want to simply complete a transfer request form. The family does not need to complete a new application. I'll share about that later. Print applications. Providers can now print out and or save applications as a PDF. And staff notifications. We listened, we shared, and they made it happen. You can now receive a notification when a family submits an online application for your location. So again, today we're going to go through the overview, whether a family completes an online application or a paper application. Want to share about these three statuses. And again, Rachel is going to go into this. I'm going to highlight it here in the tags, and then we'll shoot it over to her. The first one is in progress. The family started an application, but it is incomplete. This application cannot be processed. We have submitted. This application was submitted with all supporting documents, and the provider needs to tag, review, and reach out to the family. The provider reviews the age and residency documents and enters the data into ChildWeir. And lastly, admissions. Once we have approved the child in ChildWeir, we, PHMC, will update the child to admissions, stating that we are holding a spot for that child. Tags. Providers should make contact with the families within the 72 hours and update the tags during that review. The first tag is normally processing, meaning that you made outreach to the family and an application is being processed. Application withdrawn. Family is not interested in enrolling at your location listed. Site full. Your site is currently full. The child can be added to your wait list while PHMC and the school district works to connect the family with their second choice. No longer interested. You contacted the family and they expressed that they are no longer interested in your location. Enrolled at PHL Pre-K. That means that you enrolled that child in a PHL Pre-K funded seat. If you offer Pre-K Counts or Head Start, you can also add a tag to let us know that you've enrolled them in a Pre-K Counts funded seat or a Head Start funded seat. That lets us know not to move the child. The child was successfully connected with your location. Transferring children. If you have a child that's currently enrolled at your center or another center and they want to transfer, you can now submit a transfer request form that will not require the family to submit another application. We will give you access to their application in the Free Philly portal or provide you with that paper application and supporting documents. Transfer students can begin up to 48 hours after submission, provided that a seat is available at the site the family wants to transfer to. Print online applications. As shared, providers can now print and save PDF online applications. I know that some providers prefer to still have that hard copy. This is now available for you to have for your records. Rachel will go through the steps of how you can do this. And lastly, as shared, you can now receive an alert when a family applies at your location. Helps you to know that you want to go into the portal to review their applications. I'm now going to turn it over to Rachel so that she can share about the Free Philly portal. One moment.
Awesome. Thank you. I know Jennifer, I felt stuck there. I was like, oh, I can't see.
Got you
Um,
covered.
yeah, no worries. Let me share my screen now. So I'm going to take
Yes.
over. Okay.
Yes.
Everyone can see my screen now. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It is so nice to finally meet you. I've been working on the scene, behind the scenes on the Free Philly Pre-K application for a long time. So it's really nice to connect some faces to all of your provider names. So just a quick introduction. My name is Rachel Abramowitz. I'm also based on the Northeast. I live in Connecticut, but I'm formerly from Brooklyn. And I've been with Avella since this past fall, but I'm not new to the early childhood space and the admission space. So I ran pre-K and 3K admissions for New York City public schools for almost 8 years. So really excited to be working on Philly's mixed delivery model as well and working with all of you. So yes, you are all familiar, hopefully familiar with Avella. So this is meant to be a refresher. And Jennifer already did a wonderful introduction, so I will skip this slide. Thank you. She's like coming after my job here. So thank you for the welcome. And I know Jennifer, you didn't touch on this per se, but I think we just wanted to make it really clear that this training is specifically, right, we're talking about the PHL pre-K seats contracted with PHMC, right? So, your school district contracted seats, it's a very different process, not as Avella involved, and so just want to make sure you keep that mindset, keep that top of mind as we go through this presentation. Okay, so our big goal for our refresher, and Jennifer also set us up beautifully by grounding us in the city's current enrollment data, right? So ahead of peak enrollment, the back to school rush. We just want to make sure you're all freshened up on how to navigate the Avella site to make sure your seats are filled, right? That's why we're all here. We want you to be fully enrolled, and we want Avella to be a mechanism to help you get there. And then we also just want to make sure that you all know how and where to access help from both the PHMC team and the Avella team, and when to go to which one, depending on the issue you're experiencing. Some of your names definitely sound familiar that I've seen in, the help@avella.org inbox, which is awesome. And so we'll kind of kick off with that part of this. So our agenda today, before I hand it back to Jennifer, is one, want to make sure you all know how to access help and product documentation for Avella. Then we want to spend some time making sure you're very clear on the difference between the Avella parent site and the Avella admin site where you're processing applications, and give you some hints to make sure you know you're in the right place. Then I'll share my screen and log in as a provider and do a little bit of a portal refresher to go over the important steps that Jennifer already outlined at the top of the call. And then hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. Jennifer, we can kind of tag team there, depending on where we are with timing and the parts of the training you want to make sure we get to. And Jennifer, if you can just monitor the chat while I'm going through, and just come off mute and feel free to jump in with anything that's relevant, that would be super helpful. Okay, so what should you do if you need help and technical assistance? So we have, through Zendesk, we have a knowledge base, both for families and admins. What we make publicly available is a little more limited, but we do for all of our customers, including all of you as providers. If you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the product, you can request our full suite of product documentation. You just need to email me at help@avella.org, and I can grant that to you. This is not a requirement, but if you are someone that likes to read and understand, technical specs to help you do your work, just let me know. And that kind of leads us to, reaching out to help@avella.org for any technical issues. Both me and Jennifer and the PHMC team, tag team on some login issues, and sometimes we need to jump in to help there. So you can definitely reach out for that. Anything else that you see on the site that doesn't seem right, but please do not share help@avella.org with your families. This is really a support address for admins only, and providers and staff. So if you have a parent that's having trouble, you can elevate any issues that they're experiencing to us as the middleman or woman. And then we'll make sure you have the tools to help that family. Any policy or eligibility issues, where you're confused about questions or the way things are appearing, contact PHMC. Okay. So want to make sure that it's very clear how you can tell the difference between Avella's parent site and admin site, right? So Avella has two sites, one that families are actually using to choose the school or provider they're interested, and then also filling out the online paperwork. And then there's the admin side that parents don't have access to, that you are actually receiving these submissions and processing the applications and reviewing their questions. And I know there has been confusion, especially from providers who are they need an account, that they're ending up on the parent site and accidentally creating a parent account, which then gets them into login issues later on the admin side. So we want to avoid that from happening, because it will just cause a headache down the line. So on this left-hand side, also, actually, I should start with the top. The site that you should be going to for the admin side is apply.avella.org/phillypre/admin. So you need that /admin to make sure you are in the right place. Now, if you don't put that /admin, you are going to end up on the parent site, which looks like this left crossed out image, right? So hints to know that you're on the parent site. You see login with phone. You see sign up. Those are things you cannot do as an admin, right? You can't create your own admin account. That has to be credentialed by PHMC or the district. And you can't log in with a phone as a provider. You need to be using a verified email address. So if you see login with phone or sign up, you are in the wrong place. And either reach out to us for help to make sure you get the link, or just, try to remember that it's that /admin that you need. Here on the right-hand side is exactly what your login page will look like for the admin site, right? much more simple. Email, password, there is a forgot password pathway. So if you never verified your account, you like missed the link or you forgot your password, you can reset it here. And again, don't reset it on the parent side. That's not going to work. You need to make sure you're on the admin side to reset it. If you need an admin account, you must fill out the form provided by PHMC. Jennifer, I don't know if this would be a good time to drop that in the chat if that's
I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So that is even so Avella, right? We are just the software provider. We don't have any oversight programmatically. So if you need to be credentialed, please make sure you're following the correct flow that PHMC is asking you to do. Okay. So again, parent site, if you see login with phone, you are probably in the wrong place. You are definitely in the wrong place. Not probably, you are. Unless you're supporting a family, and that would be a different story. Okay, so let's do our little admin portal refresher. So actually, Jennifer, I'm going to probably skip this first part. You did a beautiful job. Jennifer did a quick overview of the statuses. I can breeze through that. And then we're going to talk about how to use filters to make sure you're just reviewing your submitted applications and how to create a saved view in Avella if you to make your workflow more efficient. We'll talk about how to actually review and process that application, right? So once you're in an individual student's form, how to jump around, how to view documents, how to do that processing, how to message a family if you want to, and then the nitty-gritty of processing after you review, how do you tag that application based on the tags that Jennifer shared with you earlier. Okay, so again, the pre-K family facing statuses that you may come across when you're viewing that list view of your applicants are, Jennifer said this beautifully, forms that are in progress. Sometimes these were previously submitted, right? A family got applied to a program whose site was full, and now they're in some, they're in an unsubmitted loop, or they selected your program, and they haven't filled out the questions yet. And we'll talk about what you can do with those families. You have your submitted applications, and those are the ones that you're supposed to focus on. And then you may see some canceled applications, which would be applications that, for whatever reason, maybe it was a duplicate, were canceled by either the district or some free Philly pre-K administrator. And then, as Jennifer said, the PHMC team and district are responsible for moving applications into an admission status, meaning a family has an offer, in which case a family can then accept or decline that offer right in Avella. And so you'll see those statuses as well. Okay. Jennifer, any questions about any of that you're seeing?
Not so far.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So now I'm gonna let me jump right into, let me stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna jump into my admin account and we'll do a little walkthrough. Okay. Awesome. So this should look familiar, although just as a heads up, I'm doing this in the test site so that I don't reveal any student or parent information. So it's going to look a little different. Also, as you can see, there are very few students. But hopefully the screen does look familiar. This is the Avella admin side. Right now, we only have the 25-26 school year open, aka the one that's starting now. And then, later this winter, the 26-27 school year will open. So when you go into Avella, you want to make sure that you're looking at your applications for the 25-26 school year. On the left-hand side, you'll see the application, and if you hit the All button, you'll get a list view of all of your submissions, right? So here you'll see, your submitted applications in progress, anyone that's in admissions. And so I wanted to make sure you all know how to use filters to make the workflow of processing these applications more efficient. So, you know how Jennifer and I were talking about these in progress applications, right? So these, you don't want to necessarily, you can't process these, but you actually have the ability to encourage families to submit, right? Like if they're hanging out waiting, they're obviously interested, you're trying to fill your seats, like let's get these submitted. And so one thing you can do is you can set up a workflow for yourself where you can come to your filters. You can filter just on the in progress forms. And you can take an action on these, right? So the action that I'd recommend you taking is if you want, you can send actually a message to these families. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, let's say this is something I want to do on a weekly basis. If I'm seeing a pattern of these, I'm going to go to this left-hand side and save a view. You can pick a cute emoji, maybe a ghost because I don't want to be ghosted by these families. I'm going to say in progress applications. So now every time I log into Avella, I can just actually pop right here. And, I want to send these families a message, just, saying that please submit. You can say whatever you want. We're hoping to invite you to our school community. Log back into Avella to submit, reach out, yada yada with questions. You can say whatever you want, right? This is for you to share. And then you'll always have a history of any message that you send this way, right in the general tab on your left-hand nav, right? This was a message I sent earlier to a family. And it will show you a picture of the message that was sent. And then you would also see within the messages tab within an application any correspondence that family has received, either from the Free Philly Pre-K level, right? Like when they submitted the form, they would get a message. You could see that. Or any correspondence from your own school. You won't see correspondence from other providers and schools. Okay. So we're going to take the same approach to just drill down to the applications you should be processing, which, as Jennifer said, are just your submitted applications. So here are my submitted applications. You can ignore this waitlisted. We're just, again, in the test environment. I'm actually just gonna, let's see, clear those sub-statuses so we can not be confused. Okay, great. So here are my submitted applications. I'm gonna, again, create a workflow for myself. Backpack, because these kids are ready for school. Submitted applications. You can also do something like for yourself, like need to process. Whatever works, whatever floats your boat. This is for you. Um, and you wanna make sure you're going through these applications. So let's talk about how to go through that. So when you click into, actually, I was gonna use, let's see who Tony tests. Does he have good information? Okay, great. So let's say I need to process Tony Test's application. I've never looked at it before. A couple of things I can look at here, right? So on the upper right-hand side, I'll see the student's information from their profile in Avella. So this would be the address that they put into their Avella account, their official date of birth, parent information, and this would be the contact method of the parent. So if you need to if you're reviewing info here and something looks alarming, you can actually message the parent right from here and send them something personal. Um, if you are really just in here and you're like, I just need to go right to the documents, like let's get this moving, you can use the section navigation guide and jump right to the required documents and it will take you down the page. And so when you're here, you can touch the magnifying glass or you can just open up the document. Again, these are blank, we're in the test site, so we're not showing real documents here. But you can go through and, here's the proof of age, the child, they're uploading a health insurance card. This is the proof of residency. I picked a bad example with someone that uploaded blank documents, but hopefully you all have seen this before, so you kind of know what this looks like. But you can click in and see that preview here.
I
Okay.
will also say, sometimes families do upload blank documents, so you may want to send them a
Mm,
message. I had one family for proof of income. They uploaded a picture of a $20 bill. So you want to make sure you're reviewing what they have uploaded. And if something is incorrect, I'll share later, you can upload it right in childware.
great. I'm just gonna say, right, you could say, good morning. Noticed your documents were blank. Please log back into, and if you want to actually, if you don't want to type out the link for families, we do have merge fields in Avella. So you can add in the apply variable. So it will automatically just put in the Free Philly Pre-K link. So it will take a parent right back to their application. Please log back into apply.vel.org/free-philly-pre-K and re-upload your
So,
documents.
sorry, I want to clarify.
Yep.
Parents cannot
Oh,
re-upload.
sorry. Yes. Yes, you're right. Unless they're in progress. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Yes.
If the application is submitted and something is wrong, they can call the Free Philly Pre-K referral line, and my team can support them with getting it uploaded. Or you can upload it right in Childware, and we'll review it in Childware.
Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, that's helpful technicality. So you could frame your message to say something more along those lines with those instructions. Um, okay, great. Any questions that are popping up?
One did come up. Do we
Yeah.
inform families if they uploaded an ID that is not Philadelphia resident that they don't qualify? Yes. As always, PHL Pre-K is only for residents of Philadelphia County. If their ID is not for Philadelphia, you can send them a message or reach out to them, let them know they do not qualify.
Great, thank you. Okay. Perfect. So then the next big step, let me just go make sure and everyone's been able to see my screen, right? Yeah. I just want to make sure we talked about that, messaging. Okay, great. So you fully have processed, you now know what you need to do with this child now, right? And so there are two different ways to apply this tag. Now, I want to share, I know it is tempting to put a tag here in the form details. Um, you do not want to put a form tag on. You want to make sure you are only adding a tag to your school. So here is one way. So if you're in a form, this is how you apply a tag. You come down to the school selection section and you want to, under your internal tags, apply whatever tag you need based on the descriptions that Jennifer provided. So if this, you say, yep, this is processing as Jennifer described, right? You reviewed it, you're contacting the family, everything's in the works, you'd apply that processing tag. Okay. Um, So then if you want, and then you would keep going through and doing the same thing. Now, if you also want to apply a tag, um, where was that tag? Do, 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 do. Okay, good. The tag showed up. It just needed a little Avella refresh there. If you want, you can also, if you've known, you've like, oh, these kids I know, or like, oh, my site's full now. I can't take any more. Um, you can do a bulk tag from this list view. You just use the tag button here, internal tags, and you can apply that site full tag, right? And that will tell the district and PHMC that we need to then offer the child hopefully their next choice on their application. Okay. Um, cool. And I would say the advanced level of this too, if you would like, is you can create a process. So right now, this saved view is just on submitted, but if you want to not even look at, if you really want to only know the submissions that you haven't processed yet, you can go down to the bottom here and where you find tags, you can look for the processing tags and filter out, make sure that they don't have a processing tag. So now, if I create this saved view, right? That child you already processed is here. You can even remove, say, I don't want to see the site full. So you genuinely know who you actually need to touch. So there's a lot of different ways you can use filters and save views to like build out the workflow that works for you. Okay. Jennifer, anything else I am missing that is mission critical? Oh, should I make sure everyone's aware of the staff notifications?
Yes. 1 second before you go there. Someone
Yes.
asked if we're at capacity, do we reach out to the parents even though we don't have space? Yes, and I'll talk about that shortly in another slide. And another question was if the application has been filled out by a parent, but the income earner is the other parent, there is a place for the other parent to put in their income. So we have the option for both primary and secondary caregivers. Um, so wanted to you to highlight how to print an application and
Yes.
yes, the notifications for when a child applies.
Yep, great. Okay. Yes. So if you want to print all these form details to a PDF, you can do that. So you have to be in an individual student's application, and you use on the upper right, you use that export button, and you're going to want to export the form as a PDF. It will download right to your computer, and it will have in the file name the child's name. Um, so you can easily keep these organized. You don't need to rename your files. And the way that this looks is, let me see if I can open this for you and share my screen. Let me just share what this looks like. Okay. So here it comes out essentially all the questions and all the answers, right? Each section of the application prints out on different pages. This looks unfortunately a little funky because that's a very long enrollment period name, so ignore that for now, but everything is here. So you can save this and put this in a child's folder if that's part of your workflow. Um, Required documents, though, do have to come down separately. So if you also like to print out any documents for your records, you'll want to just download the attached files and they will come down as a zip file. And that zip file will be also the name of that child. So then all their documents are in a folder, right? So each child could have their own folder on your computer that you can then organize. And then, of course, you can always export your data either from the application or you can bulk export your data to a CSV if you like working in a spreadsheet, right? Depending on how many applicants you have, or you like to take applicant snapshots just for your records so you know how many kids have applied. And so you can select your students and export. You can do an express export, which will just export everything about the student and the parent and the application, or you can create a custom report yourself, essentially where you can choose which questions or fields within Avella that you actually want, right? So let's say you send out a mailing, like you literally, you need to create print labels, right? Because you send a brochure to families that have accepted offers. I'm just making a situation up. You could essentially create a spreadsheet here that just has like what you would need to print, right? Or what you would need in a mailing label. So obviously you don't need like their form ID or their student ID, but maybe probably want the student address, the student first name, middle name, last name, and you'll probably want, or maybe you don't want to, maybe you want the student name and you want the guardian address, or or you want someone in your program, your ops director, someone needs their email and phone number, a report of email and phone numbers in the preferred language. You can do that and create a custom report for yourself. That either comes down immediately or you can schedule it to come later or on a given cadence. Like if you need something weekly or daily, you can do that as well. So a lot of ways to get your data out of Avella if you need it for your records. Um, I'll check the chat there. Nothing there about getting your data out of Avella if you need it. Okay, but let it sink in. And if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Now, for admin notifications, yes, as Jennifer described, this is a very exciting feature. So the way for you to turn on admin notifications is on the upper right-hand side of your Avella account, you'll see your initials and you'll have a profile. Right. And so right now, the only status that you can receive a notification on is actually on submitted, but I think that works really well for you all. So this way you'll get an email with the student's first name and last initial, not to divulge too much information, saying that you have a new submission with a link to their application. So that way, if you're not in Avella daily, you'll get pinged when a new submission comes in, and that will, be your nudge to come back into the site and process applications. So you can set up notifications for submitted, and then you can also set up notifications on these three sub statuses. So, if you want notifications when families have accepted offers, right, like they're really committing, you can set that up as well. And if there's anyone else at your program that you need these emails forwarded to, maybe someone's asking like they're really hounding you for, oh, or how are the submissions? Are they coming in? You can just put in their email here and they'll also get those notifications. And maybe that will help you a little bit too. So again, that's up here on the upper right hand side. You go to your profile and then it brings you right to your notifications. You want it form status submitted, update. And now I'll get emails every time there's submissions to my school. And you can always come back in and edit that and remove that and turn it off if it's not working for you. Okay. So that's the Avella refresher there. Jennifer, do you want to save time for Q&A at the end? Do you want to jump into the
Yep.
childware
Yes.
stuff and then
Yep, yep,
I'm
yep.
happy to hop in. Okay,
All right.
thank you all so much. I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you, Rachel. Again, as always, if you ever have any questions, please do not hesitate to email us at phlprek@phmc.org or call us at 844-745-7735. Meet with Rachel every week, always an email away, and we work to make sure that everybody can navigate the system as they need to. Again, I just want to share, if you have not, please do share your name and the site you are representing in the chat panel. Today's training was a required mandated training to just make sure everybody's on the same page. All right. So childware users, which is everybody that's on our call today, you're with PHMC and you have families that are enrolling. Once they have enrolled or applied online or completed a paper application, we have our data entry portion. So first, the hope is that we reach full enrollment by September 30th, 2025. Again, kudos to those that have already reached 100%. We're hoping that you can stay there. We understand that enrollments can fluctuate, but I know that you all are doing the best you can, and however we can support, please let us know as we have sparked for our enrollment and recruitment plans. We do encourage that you maintain at 100% enrollment and a wait list throughout your year. Vacancies will be analyzed monthly. Any vacancies of 30 days or more may be at risk for reallocation. So, high level, these are things that you already know, just want to go through. The first step of enrolling is eligibility, confirming that the child does live in Philadelphia, that they are age appropriate for the program, and household income if you offer more than PHL pre-K. The hope is that you're reviewing that income because if they're more qualified for Head Start or pre-K counts, that you put them in that seat, and that's why we have the different tags. So again, whether the family completes application online or paper application, you want to first confirm eligibility. These are the documents that are accepted for the child's age. They're listed here. Most of you are familiar with them. If ever you receive a document that's not listed here or you're unsure, please just email us at phlprek@phmc.org. Some have reached out to their provider services specialist or to me directly, and we work to make sure if it is legit to use or not to use. For our proof of family's residence, these are the documents that are listed. If you get something that's not listed here, again, please do reach out. If you're ever in doubt, I know I have the zip code helper there, but also if you're ever in doubt, just email us or give us a call and we'll be able to support and assist you. And then lastly is the household income. These are the documents that a family may share about their household income. And again, though it's not required for PHL pre-K, if you offer pre-K counts or Head Start, you want to make sure that you're reviewing all documents to make sure we're putting them in the most appropriate seat. The next part is data entry. Again, as shared, if the application completed online is in progress, you cannot process that. You want to process only submitted applications. You want to enter the information into childware, assessing that the documents uploaded are correct. And then update the child's tag as shared. If the incorrect document was uploaded, please upload that correct document in childware. For our paper applications, same process for our 2.0. Please review application eligibility, enter the information into childware, upload all the application documents in childware. Please note that proof of age, proof of address, and the complete application must be uploaded in childware or my team will not approve that child. For a 1.0 location, you want to make sure that those documents are in childware 1.0. You have selected pending status and PHL pre-K so that my team can see it to process the application. Again, the application, proof of age, and address must be uploaded in childware. The next step is getting approval. So once you have submitted that application, we will work to approve that application within 48 hours. You want to make sure you put a tag. We'll put a tag for online applications to support to make sure that we're identifying that the child is connected with your location to not move them from your location. And then for our paper applications, once we get the alert that you have submitted that child in childcare, we will move forward with enrolling that child. Placement notification. Once you have received confirmation that the child was approved, we do encourage that you reach out to that family within 24 hours to let them know their pre-enrollment start date. Again, all things you know, I will share this, but just high level to make sure we're all on the same page. Next is delays in enrollment approvals. If you entered the child on an old application in childcare, that may delay your approval. The next one is you enter the child in the system on a new record when they had a previous record. That will delay approval. You did not enter or update the child on 1.0 for our 1.0 users, or select PHL Pre-K, or didn't send over a document or it wasn't uploaded, something was missing, that can delay enrollment. And then lastly, the application and supporting documents are not uploaded in Childware or Avella, meaning that the application was in progress and not submitted, that will delay enrollment. Please note our enrollment timeframes remain the same. If an application was submitted, today is Wednesday, Thursday. Today is Thursday. If an application was submitted on Thursday, that child can start next week on Tuesday. If the application is submitted on tomorrow, Friday, meaning you put the child in childcare, requesting that we approve it, that child can start on Wednesday. I am aware that we had a glitch with the system of enrollment start dates. I did work to fix most enrollment start dates, but if you were trying to search a child on 825 and the system did not let you, please do email me at phlprek@phnc.org. If ever you find you're having trouble enrolling a child, please email us at phlprek@phnc.org. Immediately, I work to honor your initial reach out. So, like, if like weeks is going by, it's like, oh, I was trying to enroll them, I can't backdate that. But if you reach out to me when you're having trouble that same day, I can honor what that 48-hour time frame is. Any other documents that may be needed, maybe the health assessment with immunization, the parent fee agreement, emergency contact form, CCW enrollment confirmation form, and the OCF media release form. Oh, this is my slide here. Enrollment priorities. I do hope that each and every one of you have first re-enrolled all returning children, and then children aging in, and then new children to your facility. I reviewed childware to see how many children we had from last year that were eligible to return, and we have quite a few that were not re-enrolled. It is possible that the child is no longer interested, but the hope is that we first offer that seat to that returning child. It also helps us keep grievances low. You know, families are calling, complaining, and fuss. Also, if you made contact with the family and they said they weren't interested, that you have that paper trail to let us know you did do your efforts to try to enroll that returning child, but it was a disconnect where the family wasn't interested. But we want to make sure we did enroll first all returning children before children aging in and new children to the facility. I'm going to pause here for any questions. Um, Marino is the last name. I don't want to say the name wrong, but you was asking, could that be the reason the application is being rejected, even though the information has been inputted? An application cannot be submitted unless all documents have been uploaded and all required questions have been answered. You can send me an email at phlprek@phnc.org, and I can look into that child specifically to find out what's going on. My available is not showing any seats available, but we have open seats. Should I call customer service for help? Um, I'll check into that, Aaliyah, to see what's going on. All right. Next part is approval notifications, right? So once a child has been submitted, you will receive an alert that the child was approved. The child cannot attend until you have received the alert that the child was approved. And our 2.0 users in the system, it says pending. That means that the child was submitted and is pending approval. We have the enrolled status. The child's start date enables the enrollment status. So if they start on 825 or even 828, when you go into the application, it says enrolled and it's green, I think it is. Pending, I think is yellow. Discharge. The child was discharged from the system for one of the discharge reasons. And then applicant. The child has been added as an applicant or waitlist in the system. Please note, if the status says applicant, that child was not submitted for enrollment, all the steps for approving or submit a child for enrollment was not completed. If you need any support, again, email us at phlprek@phmc.org. So again, driving it home one more again. When is the child approved to start? When you have received that confirmation of the child being approved. You either receive an approval notification or unapproved confirmation notification. PHMC will make the final approval of enrollment in childcare and notify you within 48 hours of submission of a complete enrollment application. A provider must again receive an email of confirmation of approval prior to allowing the child to start in their program. So say you put the child in to start 8:25 and then 9:02 rolls around and say, hey, the child's been here since 8:25. If you didn't get that approval notification, the child should not have started. So again, if you're having trouble or the system is glitching, always email us at phlprek@phnc.org. Lack of responsiveness may delay the approval time to request for information. So we do work to try to get back to you. So you want to check your email if you get an email from phlprek@phnc.org. We know what the approval notifications look like. If you have somebody that needs to receive this, send us an email and we'll support to make sure that everybody at your location gets this notification if needed. Um, and then again, the unapproval. The unapproval confirmation notification means that the application online was in progress. It was not submitted, so we cannot process the application, or an application, proof of address, proof of age was not uploaded in childware. If you don't receive the alert, there's other ways to confirm approval, but email me to let me know that you didn't receive it so I can get the system fixed. You can always look on the dashboard. There's a column that says slots, that you know how many seats you have available, applicants, how many children are on your wait list or pending to be enrolled. We have unapproved pre-enrolled. That means that the children were not yet approved. And then approved pre-enrolled. These children were approved and their start date is coming. Lastly is enrolled. That child is currently attending your location, and then it lets you know your percentage of slots being filled. Our 1.0 users do receive a weekly email letting you know of all the children we have enrolled. To our 2.0 users, we don't do that anymore, but if ever you want support and want to just make sure that everything is lining up, you can email us at phlprek@phnc.org, and we too can send you an enrollment confirmation of all the children we have currently enrolled for your location. But again, you can pull it from childware, so we'll share that resource with you as well. But we'll also just make sure everything lines up because it helps us for invoicing. Our 1.0 users, you also receive that monthly approved enrollments and discharges. That helps us with invoicing as well. So just make sure we are all on the same page of who's enrolled and who's not enrolled. When should you inform a family? Again, as soon as you receive that confirmation, you want to let that family know that they can enroll in the program. So the next part was waitlist, but I've also shared about waitlist already. That means this child is interested in enrolling at your location. Did I miss something? Okay, so let's talk about it here. I did miss something. So the part about waitlist is that if a child has applied, you want to put them on your waitlist. I shared that, we really encourage that you add a tag to let us know that you have made outreach to the family. In the event that you are full, you want to take that information of the family to add them to your wait list. And then you tag the child as site full, and then we'll work to try to get them enrolled at another location. When we move them or you notate the child that your site is full, we move them to their second choice. You would then no longer have access to see that child. So that's why it is good for you to call the family because they may say, I get that you're full, but I want to stay on your wait list. We will not move that child. But if they're saying, I get that you're full, I want to try to get somewhere else, then we will move the child because we want to try to get full utilization of all the PHL pre-K seats. Okay? Again, I will share this with you. Discharging children, we are aware of this, but I oversee the grievances. So I just want to make sure that we hit home again. For our 2.0 users, you could discharge them right in 2.0. For our 1.0 users, you'll email us at phlprek@phnc.org to inform us of the discharge with the child's name, discharge date, and discharge reason. As you receive those weekly updates, our 1.0 providers want to make sure that it lines up. If we're missing a kid or a kid was supposed to be discharged, simply reply to the email and let us know. When to discharge a child? The child was in service within the initial 7 days of approval. The child no longer resides in Philadelphia. Chronic absence or the close of program year. And here is listed the definitions. Again, we did the enrollment training. I will share this presentation again. I want to be mindful of time because I wanted to get this done in an hour for you because I know school has started for many of you. But once you discharge your child, these are the things listed. Whenever in doubt, reach out to your provider services team or give us an email and rather give us an email at phlprek@pgnc.org. Discharge statuses, again, is either never attended, the child never attended, withdrew from program, the family willingly withdrew from program, completed program is only used at the end of the school year, switch funding source, if they switch out of pre-K funding, PHL pre-K funding into like Head Start or pre-K accounts, transfer within agency, if you have multiple locations and they transfer within your location. Then we have ones that PHMC uses, the verification non-compliance, meaning that documents were submitted, but they were incorrect, and duplicate discharge, if we find that the child is enrolled at another location. You'll also receive an email about a duplicate child as well. If the child pops back up at your location, because that does happen, where they tell us, no, we're not attending ABC, we're going to BBD, and then they show back up at ABC, we go work to make sure we get that child back enrolled. So I'm going to pause here for any questions. Okay. Will the remaining children on Avella automatically go on your wait list, or do we have to add them? Good question. You do want to add them to your wait list in childcare. As Rachel showed on her screen how it had wait lists, we are testing it to see how it could work best for all programs. There are some other features that we have not quite tapped into, but we're trying to see how it works to make sure that we could do it across the board because we have a lot of different providers in the system. When can we disenroll a family that has been non-responsive? Let me go back. So again, children not serviced within the initial 7 days of approval, you may want to discharge the family. However, you want to make sure that you have done all your due diligence to try to get in contact with them. You have documented those things. We have a family engagement coordinator on my team, Medea Pruitt. She has supported families, providers to reach out because we don't want a family to get discharged and then they call and it's a grievance. So we just want to make sure that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. If the parent is still interested in enrolling in your program, despite being completely and fully enrolled, do we enter that info in childware or leave them in Abella? You can enter them in childware as a waitlist student, and you can also tag them in childware, in Free Philly Pre-K. I'm drawing a blank on what the status, the tags are, but I'm gonna send that out as well so you can have it. Is it too late to have additional spots added? It is. That's a contracts question. So what you want to do is email us at phlprek@pgnc.org and let the contract and we'll let the contract team know that you are interested in having additional seats. Someone else asked that as well. If you're interested in having additional seats, you email the contract team. They'll let you know what the steps are for that. You do want to have a wait list for it. You do want to make sure you're in good standing in other areas. But again, the contract team will let you know those official steps. My last part that I wanted to share was about the enrollment and marketing. As we oversee the PHL pre-K, the Free Philly pre-K enrollment line, a lot of families call in. We get up to maybe 100 calls a day now that we're in high season. And sometimes the families are calling to ask the status of their application. If they call to ask the status of your location, my team will forward to you a contact form, similar to like a messaging service, to let you know that this family called and they want to know the status of their application. We can kind of navigate them in Free Philly portal and make sure they're doing everything well or reach out to Rachel if we need help. But that last step of you contacting the family is really important to let that family know where they stand in their enrollment status. Our hours of operation for our phone line is Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Again, if you do receive that email, please be sure to follow up. The email comes from our PHL Pre-K referral mailbox. So it's still PHL Pre-K, but it says referral at the end of it. We also added this one last thing. Sorry, I forgot about this one. Childcare trainings. We had a provider ask, how can I have some staff do attendance, for us in childcare? Childcare is having a training on Tuesday, September 2nd at 2 p.m. where staff can learn how to navigate childcare, access the home dashboard, view the child records. They cannot edit or do any enrollment, but they can enter in attendance for you. Because we get it. Sometimes it's hard. So if you have a staff that you would like to do attendance for you in childcare, we now have this feature available for limited access in childcare. The rest of the training shares some resources and marketing resources. But again, if ever you have a question, just give us a call or email us at phlprek@phc.org. If you need support with childcare, you want to email helpdesk@phc.org. And again, if it is something related to Avella, Free Philly Portal, give us a call as well. So now I'm going to open up the floor for questions. Um, Work to answer most of them, but if I miss one, please let me know. Actually, I'm coming. How do we remove a family if the child is going to special needs program through Elwyn? Remove the child from, why I'm gonna reach out to you time because I want to know if the child is not going to send at all at your location, or if they're completely going to another location, Elwyn totally, because that sounds like a discharge. But if they are coming to you and receiving services at Elwyn, that's a little different. So I'll follow back up on that. Once the family is tagged, waitlisted, can the second center choice see the application at the time? Thank you, Rachel, for answering. Once it is tagged as a waitlist or whatever tag is put, once we finalize that, we will move them to their second choice, and then that second location will be able to see them. There are also many families who call the referral line where they maybe put ABC as their first choice and BBD and XYZ as the second and third choice. We do adjust and support them to get that application to X, Y, and Z or BBD if they want to now go to that location because that first choice was full. Again, if the family support, I've had providers call with the family, I've had families call the referral line. We will support to get that application updated. So not at all coming. Got it. So if the child is not at all coming and going to Elwyn, you want to then discharge the child. We on the back end are working to clean up Free Philly Pre-K to make sure we have that it matches to the best of our ability. All right. Going to thank you all for joining. Again, if you did not, please do put your name and the center you're representing in the chat panel. I did release the unmute in case you have any questions that you want to verbally ask instead of typing. But Rachel's here if you have any questions. I'm here if you have any questions. That is the conclusion of the presentation. If you do have any questions, again, please do share. Again, any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We are glad and happy to support you. We do hope that you have an amazing new school year. It's a lot going on here in Philadelphia with the buses changing, but we're hoping that, what's going on inside those classrooms remain the same. Fun times, education, love of you being a consistent person in their lives. So thank you again for each and every one of you and all you do for the children of not just PHL Pre-K, but the children of Philadelphia. Truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you all. Feel free to reach out at help@avella.org if you need anything. Okay. Sounds good, Jennifer. Maybe we're all set.
Yep, be back. I see you at 2. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. See you later.
All right.